Hey guys, this is God of Politics, and before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Both of those are linked down in the description. But today's video is going to be the governor elections, the 2020 governor elections. As you can see here, these are the states in which we have governor elections. There are 10 states. There are 10 states in which there are governor elections, which isn't too many. There are many more on the off years. In 2018, there are many. And then we have New Jersey in 2017, Virginia in 2017. We have some others. We have Louisiana, Kentucky. Those are also on off years. But this year, it really has the least out of any of the major years. There aren't too many competitive races either. Really, just looking at this, the only competitive races that you'll see are Montana, North Carolina, and then you could even argue these aren't even competitive. But we'll get to that in a second. Before these elections, Republicans are 19, Democrats are 20, and we'll just be going through each one of these seats. I did one of these back in March. We're just going to see how this is changing and how I think that these states are going to go. So starting off in the Northeast here, I think that Vermont is going to be a likely Republican state. And I would put this as a safe Republican state because Phil Scott is pretty popular here. He has a 60% approval rating. And while Democrats do have a good candidate here in David Zuckerman, who's the lieutenant governor, I don't think it's going to be enough to bring the state into the blue column, regardless of the fact that it is a very blue state at the presidential level and the national level. The next state that I'm going to go to is New Hampshire, which I think is going to be lean Republican because Chris Sununu is pretty popular, less popular than Phil Scott, but he is still pretty popular. But the Democrats do have a good candidate in Dan Feltz, who is the majority leader of the New Hampshire State Senate, which could give him a run for his money. But at the end of the day, as of now, I'm going to say that that seat is a lean Republican seat. The next seat is going to be John Carney's seat, which is, I believe, a safe Democratic district. It's a safe blue state at both the presidential and state level, and John Carney is reasonably popular, so that he'll be able to comfortably win. The next state is going to be West Virginia here. West Virginia actually hasn't elected a Republican governor since 1996 because Jim Justice, who is the incumbent, was a Democrat when he was elected in 2016, but has since switched to the Republican Party. And while it is West Virginia, which is a very deep red state, and Democrats don't really have a good candidate running against him, probably going to be Ron Stallings, who is the state senator, and Jim Justice. But again, Jim Justice only has 43% approval rating, which will turn the state from a safe margin to a likely margin because Democrats have proven they can actually win in this state, which is kind of odd because Joe Manchin used to be the governor here. He became the senator, and Democrats are elected Democratic. West Virginia has elected Democratic state representatives and state governors before, and so I believe that will be a likely margin. The next seat is going to be Indiana. I believe Indiana is going to be a safe Republican state. It's actually, I mean, obviously, it's trended heavily red ever since it went blue in 2008. And Eric Holcomb is not the most popular governor. He's around 51% approval rating. But the candidate he's running against in Woody Myers is not the best candidate, so it's a very Republican state. It'll stay as a very Republican state and go by a safe margin to Eric Holcomb. The next seat is going to be Missouri. I believe that Missouri will be a likely margin because, again, this is another state that has trended heavily red, just like Indiana, since it almost went blue in 2008, and their incumbent governor, Mike Parson, isn't that popular. He's only at around 49% approval rating, but the Democratic challenger is Nicole Galloway, most likely, who's the state auditor, which isn't really the best title to have if you're running for state governor in a very red state, and so that will make it a Republican state, safe Republican state. The next seat is going to be in North Dakota, which is also going to be a safe Republican state. North Dakota is one of the most Republican states in the country. It went to Trump by 35%. It went to Doug Burgum by 60% in 2016, and he doesn't really have a main challenger, so he'll probably win by easily by a pretty substantial margin. Then we're going to go back down here to the state of North Carolina, which I believe will be a lean margin. Roy Cooper beat an incumbent in Pat McCrory in 2016, an incumbent Republican, which to me says a lot more about the faults and weaknesses of Hillary Clinton, who lost the state by 3.5, than it does about the strengths of Trump. And it also shows Democrats can win here at both the presidential and the state level. And the reason it's at lean and not likely or safe, because he is pretty popular and he's been elected before, the reason that it's at lean and not likely or safe is that the lieutenant governors of 8 years, Dan Forest, is running against him, which will make it closer. But at this point, I'll say it's a lean Democratic state. The next one is going to be the state of Utah. I believe Utah will be a safe Republican state as well. You have the incumbent governor, Gary Herbert, not running for re-election. He announced that he wouldn't run for a third term after he was elected in 2016. So now you have an open seat, but again, it is a very Republican state, and you have Christopher Peterson and Spencer Cox most likely, but again, there could be some other candidates who, besides Sir Cox is the lieutenant governor, but there are some other candidates, pretty good candidates for the Republicans actually, which will easily make this a safe Republican state here. And Washington is going to be a safe Democratic state. The next one, Jay Inslee announced that after running for president, when he dropped out of the presidential race, he was going to run for a third term in the governorship. And that is, and again, it's a safe Democratic state, and he's not really running against a very strong Republican candidate. And again, it's Washington. It's a very safe Democratic state, just like North Dakota is for Republican, just like Missouri is, just like Indiana, just like Utah, and just like West Virginia, except West Virginia is a whole different story. But Washington, with Jay Inslee, who has kind of propelled himself on the national stage, first with his presidential bid, which gave him some popularity, and second with his coronavirus response, which has been, it's been widely praised, and so that's given him more popularity just in not only just the state but at the national level as well. And so he will win by a safe margin, in my opinion. And the final state that we're going to be going to is Montana, which I believe will go to the Republican by a tilt margin, which will be probably Tim Fox. This is probably going to be the closest governor race. The only one that really competes with it is probably going to be North Carolina. But yeah, it'll probably be the closest race is Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney under Steve Bullock. Steve Bullock's not running for a third term because he's ineligible, and he is running for the Senate instead. He endorsed Mike Cooney, who is apparently, or not apparently, but he is going to run against Tim Fox, who's the Attorney General. And, Montana, like West Virginia, hasn't elected a Republican in a very long time. The last time they elected a Republican was in the year of 2000. The Democrats definitely can win here, and unlike West Virginia as well, Jon Tester, along with Joe Manchin, Democrats elected in very red states. So it's shown that Democrats can win in these states, and that's something that you have to watch out for, and that'll make Montana a lot closer than some people might think. I think at this point it still will go to the Republican, most likely Tim Fox, but this easily could change, and at this point I'll put it at a tilt margin, but again, this could change. It could become a Democratic state. It could become a wider margin for Tim Fox, but this is the overall map as it stands now. I think I've made Montana a lot closer, North Carolina a bit more Democratic, New Hampshire may be a bit closer. Can't really remember my older predictions, but yeah, 22 Republicans after this, 23 Democrats. Not really, doesn't work as a controlled body together, but it's it's better to have more than to have less. And so Republicans, I think, will come out with a victory of this, but if they do lose Montana, that would be bad for them. But yeah, that's all for this video. Just wanted to do a short video here updating how I think the governor elections are going to go for the month of April, how I think things stand now, how I'm predicting it's going to be in November. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Please like and subscribe as always. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and I will see you guys later.